did this and got banned. It was the same thing. He was talking about how, genocide is totally permissible, that the Palestinians are barbaric and deserve genocide. And now he's doing it again. This is the second time Asmongold has been banned for advocating to murder children as well as adults.
Hasan Piker called Asmongold a child murder advocate on stream. And within 48 hours, an old clip of Hasan himself resurfaced where he talked about wanting to destroy an entire race. Neither one of these guys is the good guy in this story, and I think pretending otherwise, whichever side you're rooting for, is exactly why this keeps getting worse instead of better. Subscribe if you want the version of this story that doesn't pick a team just to make you comfortable.
Is shoot him, problem solved? That's what I would do. That's what I think they should. I think they should just fucking shoot him. Like, I've said this before. Like, I know that it might sound like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. I have no sympathy for doing that, and I would do that in a second. Because it's the right thing to do in the long term. You can never look at, in a very, very isolated incident, you could say, and there's always, this is emotional blackmail, right? Well, you can't shoot these people, they have kids with them. Well, then don't bring your kids. If you don't want to get shot, then don't bring your fucking kids. It's really simple. You mean you'd shoot adults and deport the kids, right? Well, I'd shoot whoever. Yeah, I'd shoot whoever. I mean, if it's kids, women, men, anybody, just shoot them.
Here's where it started. On August 3rd, reacting to migrants crossing into Ceuta, Spain, Asmongold said he'd support using lethal force against anyone crossing the border, explicitly including children, and dismissed pushback on that as emotional manipulation. Twitch suspended his channel days later for 14 days. And this isn't his first time getting banned over comments like this either. Back in October 2024, his alt account got suspended after he called Palestinian culture inferior and said he had no empathy for victims of genocide. So this isn't one bad night. It's the third documented time this specific pattern has gotten him suspended. I don't think that's a coincidence, and I don't think it's an accident either.
He did this and got banned. It was the same thing. He was talking about how, genocide is totally permissible, that the Palestinians are barbaric and deserve genocide. And now he's doing it again. This is the second time Asmongold has been banned for advocating to murder children as well as adults.
Hasan went hard at him for it, calling him a child murder advocate directly. And on the actual content of the original comment, I think he's right to be furious. Advocating lethal force against children crossing a border isn't an edgy take. It's advocating for killing kids, and dressing it up as border policy doesn't change what it actually is.
A lot of people look at this from the perspective of human rights or something like this, and I find this to be one of the most malignant and pernicious abuses and inversions of morality that we have nowadays, and I'll explain why. Never once have I ever heard about the human rights or the privileges or, what's the right thing to do for all of the people in this city who are now having to be terrified in their homes, boarding their houses up. You have these migrants banging on their doors, smashing their windows, destroying their businesses, potentially violating them, attacking them, and doing whatever they can to these people.
Here's where most people expected him to walk it back, and instead he did the opposite. Asmongold's actual response to getting banned was to extend the same argument to a different group of children entirely, framing it as a gotcha aimed at Hasan specifically. That's not someone who got misunderstood. That's someone who understood exactly what he said the first time and decided the correct response was to say it again, louder, about a different group of kids just to prove a point about who gets criticized and who doesn't. I don't think there's a charitable reason to that decision.
We're gonna keep bringing in immigrants in this country on purpose, just so they can fuck your sister, and then maybe even your daughter. We're gonna destroy the white race, bitch. That's what we're here to do.
But here's where this stops being a simple story about one guy being wrong, because an old clip of Hasan resurfaced almost immediately after, showing him using extremely inflammatory language about wanting immigration to eventually destroy what he called the white race. He responded to the backlash by claiming he was white himself, and that he'd only been mocking people who believe in so-called white genocide. Maybe that context is real, but I think if you're gonna call someone out for using dehumanizing language about a group of people, You don't get to have your own resurfaced clip using dehumanizing language about a different group and just wave it off as satire. That's not consistency. That's picking which hateful rhetoric counts based on who said it. Elon Musk jumped into this too, publicly asking why Twitch has this double standard, banning Asmongold, while Hasan's own history stays untouched. And honestly, on the narrow question of consistent enforcement, I think that's a fair question to ask, regardless of what you think of either man personally. A platform's rules should apply the same way to everyone making comments in this territory, not just the side that's easier to punish.
Well, it's because the day before that, I had a health symptom that was identical to my dad's health symptom before he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So this, I got really upset. I was freaking out. And so I'm laying in bed, I'm fucking petrified, I am like panicked, I'm looking things up online, I'm messaging people, I eventually go to the emergency room and I go through all of this, and I don't want to get into the details of what the symptoms were or anything, because honestly it's kind of gross, but all you need to know is that that's pretty much what happened. And so I fell asleep on the futon over there, and I wake up, and this is like the day I got suspended, and I had been, like, at this point, I had not been on my computer at all in like 24 hours, right? Because I was so stressed out and upset about this. All I could do was just lay down. And I didn't know, like, am I dying? Is there something wrong with me, right? And so I look at, and I see the reflection. Like, this is just stupid, but like I can see the reflection of this monitor from this monitor, and I can kind of see, like, are there new messages? And I saw that there was like a post about like a tweet, and I'm like, I just had a feeling that I was getting suspended, right? I just had a feeling, and I looked and I got suspended, and I was like, this is the first time I got on the computer. I'm like, well, how long is it? I said 14 days. I said, thank God. Right? Thank God. Now I'm gonna have 2 weeks to deal with this problem.
There's a genuinely human detail buried in all of this that's easy to miss with everything else going on. During his suspension, Asmongold said he had a health symptom matching what his own father experienced right before a serious health issue, and that it scared him enough to go to the emergency room. That doesn't excuse anything he said. It doesn't cancel out the comment that got him banned in the first place, but it's a real reminder that even the people at the center of the ugliest online fights are still just people. And I think it's worth holding both of those things at once. What he said was genuinely indefensible, and he's also a person who had a real scare with his own health during all of this. Here's where I actually land on this. Twitch's own policy lists immigration status as a protected category, same as race or ethnicity, and Asmongold's comment sat squarely inside that. The ban was correct on the merits, but if the platform is serious about that standard, it can't only apply it to the streamer who's easier to punish, while letting an equally ugly resurfaced clip from someone else slide by on a technicality about who was joking. Both of these men said something genuinely bad this week. Only one of them got suspended for it. I think that gap is the actual story here, more than either individual comment.